بسم الله إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونتوب إليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له إله الأولين والآخرين وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله الله تعالى بالهدى ودين الحق فبلغ رسالة ربه ونصح الأمة وعد الأمانة وجاهد في الله حق جهاده حتى أتاه اليقين فصلوات الله وسلامه عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. Alhamdulillah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, it is a very great honor and ni'mah from Allah Azza wa Jal for this particular session. Like we had the previous session where we talked about we studied Suratul Nas, and then this particular session we are trying to look at a brief study and contemplation of Suratul Falaq. And as we all know, we have already made a lot of introductory talk about these two surahs that are at the end of the Quran. We already talked a little bit about them collectively, and then we talked extensively on Suratul Nas in the previous lesson. But of course, as we said, this particular session will look more on Suratul Falaq, into Suratul Falaq. But before we start, I would like to highlight something about these two surahs. We all know that these two surahs, they are actually both were revealed at the same time. They were revealed simultaneously to the Prophet, meaning that there's no difference about this. It is a collective opinion. There's no difference about it. And as we all know, in Surah Nas, we talked mainly about things that was internal. For example, there was waswas of shaitan. It is something that is happening in us, and it is something that we have control over. But Surah Falaq we are talking mainly on things that are out of our control. What I meant is, if you look at the waswas, Surah Nas talk about the waswas of shaitan, allazi yuwaswisu fi suduri nas. So this waswas, that is why we made mention, like Allah Azza wa Jal said, fi suduri nas, and not fi qulubin nas. Shaitan, we talk about it in the previous Surah Nas. He just whispered. So it is now upon you. The decision is now yours to take it into consideration or not. So Shaitan can go and tell you, my friend, there is something, you can see there is money on the table there. Why not you just take it? So it is an idea, as we said, at tahayyulat, delusional thoughts that he just whispered into the human being. But for you to act on it is now your choice. So we have a choice. That is why we are accountable for it. Okay, if Shaitan gives you whispers and you act on it, we are accountable for it, because they are things that it in itself is not just coming to your heart, it is whispering into your chest. For you to allow it to enter into your heart is now your own decision. It's now up on you. But in Surah Al-Falaq, the musta'azu minhu, the things that we are seeking protection against, من شر ما خلق ومن شر غاسق إذا وقب ومن شر النفاثات في العقد ومن شر حاسد إذا حسد. All these are things that are not in our control. For example, if someone do sihr on you, if someone casts a spell or do magic on you and it harms you, you are not accountable for it. It's something that is out of your control. So that is the main difference that I want to talk about here. Now, for this particular Suratul Falaq, of course, as we all know, it has a historic context And that is very beautiful to it. I mean, understanding the surah at large. So before we begin, I would like to make mention of this historic context of this surah. And that is, it has to do with a man who is called Labid bin Asim. Labid bin Asim. This particular man, like most people, consider him to be a hypocrite. Some say he accepted Islam, but most people say he was a hypocrite. And he was from the Jew. I mean, mainly he was from the Jew, from the type of Banu Zuraik. Banu Zuraik. So this was this particular man, Labid bin Asim. So this particular man, he intended, or he tried to cast a spell on the prophet. He tried doing magic on the prophet. And he was a famous magician, a sorcerer, who was well known, among the Jews. So he tried to cast magic on the prophet. And how did he do it? He actually had, there was a boy, the prophet, these young servants of the prophets. He tried to hide the boy, to pay the boy to get the comb of the prophet. So the comb of the prophet, there was still some, the prophet had a lot of hair on his head, as the hadith describes. So there was hair still stuck on the comb. So he hired this boy, he paid this boy to get the comb for him. So the boy took the comb and the pins, as I said, the pins still had some hair stuck on it. So the boy, this Jewish boy, this boy took it to this sorcerer, Labid bin Asim, and then he used the pins with the hair stuck on it to make his all this kind of magic that they do. He tied knots and then blew on it. Mentioning names of shayateen and all this. He did his magic, and then this device, what he has now formed, like with the pins with the hair stuck on it, and then he now tied knots on it and then blew, mentioned names of shayateen and all these things. He now took it to a well-known well in Medina that they call Zu Arwan. Zu Arwan, it's a well in Medina. He went to this well and then he hid it under this well. There was a rock under the well. He hid it under the rock in the well. So this is what he did. And the prophet was a little bit harmed by this magic, because he sometimes felt that he has done something, but in reality he hasn't done it. Or he thinks that he may do something and he doesn't realize that he has done it. So this was the feeling that he was having. He was affected. The feelings of the prophet was affected. He can, like I said, he think that he did something and he didn't actually did it. So the prophet was affected in this manner. There is a very beautiful narration from Aisha radiallahu anhu in Sahih Bukhari, where the prophet is telling Aisha what happened. The prophet told Aisha that Allah has accepted his call, and then he narrated to Aisha that he had a dream where two angels came to him. They came to the prophet in his dream. So one of them sat by his head, and then the other sat by his feet. So these two angels, they appeared in the form of a human being, and then they came to the prophet in his dream. One sat by his head, and then the other sat by his feet. So they had a conversation where one of them said, one of these angels, he said that, what is wrong with this man? So the prophet is dreaming, and these two men are speaking. He dreamed that he was lying down, and then two angels were standing by him, and they were having a conversation. They were talking. So one of them said, what happened to him? The other replied by saying that they have cast a spell on him. And then the other said, who did it? Then he replied, Labid bin Asim. Then he asked again, how did he do it? Then he replied, he used a comb with hair stuck on it. the hair of the Prophet with the comb with his hair stuck on it. That's what he used to do the sihr. Then he asked again, so where is it? Then he replied, this is in Surah 1. And then he asked again, so how does he cure it? Or how does he do away with it? How does he cure himself? Then he replied, the other one, the one that stood by his feet, he replied by reciting these two surahs, Surah Al-Falaq and then Surah Al-Nas. Surah Al-Falaq and then Surah Al-Nas. So the Prophet now woke up from his dream. And so, of course, this is why he now realized what has happened. And he knew a very little detail. So the Prophet, like Aisha narrated, the Prophet went to the well. And then he removed this thing that the sorcerer has done. And so the Prophet recited Surah Al-Nas and then Surah Al-Falaq. If you look at Surah Al-Nas, it had 6 ayahs. 6 ayahs. In Surah Al-Falaq, 5 ayahs. 5 ayahs. In total, how many? 11 ayahs. So Surah Al-Nas and Surah Al-Falaq combined together, you get what? 11 ayahs. Now when the Prophet went, the magician, he tied 11 knots. 11 knots. Okay, al-uqad, then the knots, he tied them, 11 of them. So the Prophet untied one. You see, Kul A'udhu Birabbin Nas, he untied one. Then he recited again, then he untied one. He recited, he untied one. He recited, he untied one. He recited, he untied one. He finished Nas, he continued Falaq. When he got to the end of Falaq, when he said the Hasidin is a Hasad, 11 ayahs, all the 11 Nas were untied. And the Prophet described himself as being relieved, as being cured. All that, unusual or abnormal feelings that he had, they all disappeared from there. And that is the beautiful narration that is associated with this Surah Al-Falaq. And so because of that narration, some of the Mufassirun, they see that this particular 2 surahs are Madani. They are Madani. Like they were revealed in Medina, because of course this happened in Medina. This incident happened in Medina. So some of them see because of that it is a Madani surah. And then some say no, it was a Makki surah, it was already revealed. But just that the angels taught the Prophet how to use it to cure magic. But that wasn't the point where it was revealed. Allahu Alam, Allah knows best. But the ijma, the most authentic opinion is that it is Madani, the 2 surahs, like we said previously, and Nas and Falaq, they are Madani surahs. From Surah Al-Mulk down to the end of the Quran, they are all Makki, and then with the exception of these 2. And Allah knows best. So now let's now look into it, talk about the ayahs one by one, inshallah. So the first is Kul A'udhu Birabbil Falaq, of course. Kul A'udhu Birabbil Falaq. Say, I seek refuge from the Lord of the Dawn. Kul A'udhu Birabbil Falaq. Now, we talk about in the previous surah, when we say Kul, like Kul as a Amr, fellow Amr, it mostly comes in the Quran a lot. Kul A'udhu Bin Nas, Kul A'udhu Bin Falaq, Kul Huwallahu Ahad. A lot of surahs have Kul in it, but its meaning tataghayyar bisiyaq. It changes with the context. Okay, the meaning can be in here with this context. In this context, its meaning is this. In here, its meaning is this. In here, its meaning is this. So it depends on the context. But in this Al-Mu'awwizataini, in these 2 surahs, Surah Al-Falaq and Surah Al-Nas, the most beautiful explanation I've seen is from most of the Mufassirun is that it is a source of, it is a kind of admitting our weakness. You know, when you are weak, sometimes if you are weak, you don't want to admit that you are weak. You know, sometimes out of your ego, you just feel like, no, I shouldn't ask for help. Then when you are bankrupt, you need help. You know, have you written an examination before where things are very, very difficult, and then you just need a slight help, and maybe someone can help you. I'm not saying you should cheat in examination, but I'm just giving you like pre to the examination. You just know that this exam that you are going to write is not going to work out well for you, and someone is very, 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 deeply learned in that subject. Sometimes you feel very shy, or you out of your ego, you don't want to ask for help. So in this particular two surahs, the kul there is a fi'l al-amr, is a command. You, as I said, you may be weak. It is one thing to be weak. It is another thing to admit that you are weak. So it's an admittance of our weakness and our belittling ourselves in front of Allah Azza wa Jal. Allah is the one who owns everything, and He is the one who, because all these things, la yaqdiru alayhi ahad, no one can be able to overcome it. Illa Rabbah, except His Master. He is Lord, okay, and Allah is the Lord of everything. So He is the only one who is capable of protecting us against it. So we have to admit that we are weak, and then Allah will help us. So it is a kind of accepting it is a kind of humility. And that is one beautiful explanation of it in this two al-Maw-izah. But of course, as I said, its meaning in other places could differ. Now, a'uzu. We have talked about a'uzu. Okay, al-isti'aza. We talk about it, and then in the last lesson, like Sheikh is saying here, Sheikh Sa'di, his material is what we are using as our reference, Tafseer Sa'di. So he says here that he is explaining a'uzu. He says that a'uzu ay aljahu wa aluzu wa a'tasimu. So he is explaining a'uzu. A'uzu is alja. And when we say alja, is to resort to take resort in something. Aluzu wa a'tasimu, to hold on to something. You know, when you are freed from something evil, and then you just hold on to someone who is very powerful, for him to protect you against this danger that you are running away from. So that is a'uzu. That is how he explained a'uzu. Okay, seeking help from something evil. Birabbil Falaq, from the Lord of Falaq, from the Lord of the dawn. Rab, we have seen Rab, and so we wouldn't explain it much here. We have seen Rab, we have explained it into details in Surah An-Nas and Surah Al-Fatiha. One of the meaning, of course, as I said previously in Surah An-Nas, whenever we see Rab, it means indirectly we are slaves. It is reminding us that we are slaves. And of course, we seeking help, and immediately we are acknowledging that we are slaves. It means that those who accept themselves as slaves, they are already in the protection of Allah. Those who accept themselves as slaves and Allah as their master, those who are already in submission to Allah, those who have submitted their will to the will of Allah, to what Allah has ordained, they are already in the protection of Allah. It is very beautiful. Whenever we see Rab, we should be reminded of this. Al-Falaq. Al-Falaq is dawn. The verb here, let me explain it. The verb here is falaqa. And falaqa is for something to split, open, to crack. I hope that is clear. To crack or to split open, that is falaqa. Okay, so if you look at Surah Al-Shu'ara, فَانْفَلَقَ فَكَانَ كُلُّ فِرْكٍ كَالطَّوْدِ الْعَظِيمِ. When Musa alayhi salatu wassalam, he hit the water, the sea with his asa, with his staff. The water split, and then each part was like a great towering mountain. You see something like a mountain of water. It was divided like that. So the division, the splitting, that Allah says, فَانْفَلَقَ, from infalaqa. So it is from similar origin. Falaqa, as I said, for something to split, that's the verb.
But falakun is the noun. And here it means daybreak, dawn. How you say daybreak or dawn? See something, it has a very beautiful imagery in it, and that is the dawn. You see how morning emerged from the darkness. It's like it has cracked open the darkness and it has pop up. That is the beautiful concept here. Why dawn is called, or daybreak is called falakun, because the verb or the word in its origin, it has an imagery of crack opening, something crack opening and coming out, like the Sheikh explained here. برب الفلق أي فالق الحب والنوى. فالق الحب, so you see in the names of Allah, Allah says, هو الفالق الحب. Allah is the one they call فالق الحب, the one who split open the hab, the grain, والنوى, and the seed, the date seeds, the seed of the date. Allah is the one who crack open it. You know, when the seeds are germinating, I mean in the process of their development, when you go and plant them for them to develop into a plant, as they are germinating, at a particular point they crack open. Okay, if you look at science, they talk about these things. Okay, so the crack opening is Allah is the one who does it. So that's what we call Falikul Hab, the one who crack open the seeds. And Falik here is in Fa'il. I hope that is clear. So Falakun, as I said, is the daybreak. But why is the daybreak or the dawn called Falak? Because it has this imagery of crack opening the darkness and then popping up. After Fajr, just observe at Fajr time how the morning emerges from the darkness. So it's this imagery. That's why they call it Al-Falaq. فالق الحب والنوى وفالق الإصباح. Like Sheikh Sa'di explained here, فالق الحب والنوى وفالق الإصباح. And then Al-Isbah. So Al-Falaq here, Al-Isbah. Mana Al-Isbah. وفالق الإصباح, the crack opening of the morning, daybreak. Min sharri ma khalaq. Now let's look at the second ayah. Min sharri ma khalaq. From the evil of all that he created. Min sharri ma khalaq. From the evil of all that we created. So we are seeking Allah's, protection from the evil of all that he created. Shar, we have already explained shar in the previous surah An-Nas. And as we said, shar is evil that has the potential to harm you. That is shar. Shar bimana diddul khair is the opposite of khair. So evil, something evil that has the potential to harm you, that is shar. Min sharri ma khalaqa, from the evil of all that he created. What? So ma khalaqa here, evil of all that he created. What do we mean when we say from the evil of all that he created? What does it mean? This ma khalaqa bimana jami'il makhluqat, from the collection of all the creations or whatever Allah created. So, you know that everything that Allah creates, when we see this, the first thing we should think about is ourselves. We ourselves, we are, the creation, the prominent creation of Allah. And so, everything that Allah creates, what we need to know is that everything in one way or the other may have an iota of evil in it. That is why inna nafsa la ammaratun bisu. Yes. That is why even most of the time, like in the hadith, we see wa na'udhu billahi min shururi anfusina. So we ourselves, our souls, and everything that Allah created, because nothing is perfect. All creation in one way or the other has an entity of flaw in it. We have a flaw in it. It's only Allah who is perfect. It's only Allah who is perfect. So we, all other creations, will have an entity of at least evil in it. So there's a potential of us, me, you, all of us. There's a potential of us bringing out evil from ourselves. If there's a potential that evil can come from us, it's true. Okay, like I said, in the nafsa la ammaratun bisu. Like just before we started, we said, wa na'udhu billahi min shururi anfusina. So we ourselves, all creations, the sun, even though the sun, it produces a lot of benefit for us, but of course it can also harm. The moon, the same thing, all the makhlukat, the water bodies, the animals, all of these things, the creation of Allah, they have goodness in them, but the same way, they are not good in 100%, like we used to say. So they will have an element of evil in them. All creatures, it's true, that is how it is. All creatures will have an entity of evil in it. And we have taken Allah's protection against any evil that could come from any creation. So this is general, has an arm, woman. This is general. Everything that Allah created, Jami'in Makhlukat, we are seeking Allah's protection from the evil that may come from it. Even today, we invent a lot of things. We are in a technological world. We invent a lot of things, and they are beneficial to us. At the same time, all these things, in extension, we are those who are inventing it, but indirectly, it is a creation of Allah. And all things in this world is the creation of Allah. Even though if we are even making it with our hands, but it is indirectly from Allah. Allah gives us this brain and this minds, intellect, and all these things to do. So it is indirectly from Allah. So when all those things, they have one way or the other, they post an evil threat. They will have an entity of evil in it. So we ask Allah's protection against the evil of everything that He creates. So min sharri ma khalaqa. Min sharri ma khalaqa. So the Sheikh says here, من شر ما خلق وهذا يشمل جميع ما خلق الله من إنس, all that Allah created from the human being, وجن, and from the jinn, وحيوانات, and the animals. فيستعاذ بخالقها من شر الذي فيها. So he sought his protection is sought from the evil of all that which will come from these things. Then summa khassa, the Sheikh says, summa khassa ba'dama amma. You know that this is umuman, like I've said, min sharri ma khalaq, from the evil of all that He created. All that Allah created, this is general. This is general. Now He's now going to mention specific things. Allah is now mentioning specific things. So that's what the Sheikh says, summa khassa. He now specifies ba'dama amma, after he has mentioned generally. So the next ayah, min sharri wa min sharri ghasikin iza waqab, and from the evil of the ghasik, of the darkness, iza waqab, when it overspreads, when it's become intense. Wa min sharri ghasikin iza waqab. The verb, the addition here is ghasik, and then ghasik, كما قال كثير من المفسرين الغاسق هو الليل. الغاسق هو الليل. The verb in it is غسق. غسق. And then غسق, like most of them say, الليل إذا أظلم. You know the night, when the night is coming. The blue skies, they are disappearing, and then it is now covered by darkness. That is al-غاسق. Like Allah says, Akimis Salata, the Duluki Shamsi ila Gasakil Layl. So that is similar thing, that is similar thing there. So Al-Gasak, as I said, is a verb. Al-Gasik is the Al-Layl. Gasik huwa Al-Layl. Like Sheikh says here, Sheikh Sa'di. Min sharri ma yakunu fil layl. So Al-Gasik is the night, the darkness of the night. That is Al-Gasik. Al-Layl is Al-Aslama. Okay, when the night, when its darkness begin to come. Okay, when it is dark, the night when it is dark, that is ghasik. That is ghasik. Al-layl is al-aslama. The night when it is dark. So when the blue skies disappear, when it is getting to let's say Maghrib Isha time. Okay, those times. Okay, when the night is coming in, and you see that the blue skies has disappeared, and then darkness now come. So that is ghasik. Okay, that is ghasik, the darkness of the night. So وَمِن شَرِّ غَاسِقٍ إِذَا وَقَبَ. And then we all know, why did Allah mention specifically this ghasik, this darkness of the night? Of course, we all know that at this particular time, that is when most evil practices are being carried out. So like the Sheikh says here, من شر ما يكون في الليل حين يغشى الناس وتنتشر فيه كثير من الأرواح الشريرة وَالْحَيْوَانَاتِ الْمُؤْذِيَةِ. At that time, all those who are evil, evil spirits, evil souls, dangerous animals. That is when they are active. They are active when they take advantage of the night. One thing to note is night in itself is not evil. Night in itself is not evil, but it has the potential of evil in it. And most evil things take advantage of the night. So, as I said, night in itself is not evil, like we have Laylatul Qadr. It's a blessed night. Laylatul Mubarak, like I describe it, a blessed night. Then the Isra wal Mi'raj, when the Prophet ascended, the ascension of the Prophet with Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam, is a miraculous night. Okay, when Musa alayhi salatu wasalam talked with Allah, like most people have the view, it is a night. It was the night, the time when Musa spoke with Allah, Azza wa Jal, speaking with the Lord of the universe. So it is something, all this night. So night in itself is not evil, but it has the potential to be evil. So that is why night is specified here. Al-Ghasik is specified here. Iza waqaba. And then Allah describes it. When it becomes intense. Waqaba. The verb here is waqaba. And that is, like the Sheikh says here, Hina yaghsha nas. The time it overshadows the people. So waqaba bimana, for the darkness of something to overshadow another thing. Like Imam Alusi, he says that إِذَا دَخَلَ ظَلَامُهُ فِي كُلِّ شَيْءٍ. When the darkness of something enters into everything, such that you can't even see anything again, that is waqaba. That is the verb waqaba. So Ghasik in itself, it is the darkness of the night, when the night becomes dark. But Allah go step further to say إِذَا waqaba, when it becomes intensely dark, when it overshadows it, is darkness cover everything. So that is waqaba. That time, of course, that is the time the evil creatures, they take advantage of, and then they act out their evilness. So we are seeking Allah's protection against that. وَمِن شَرِّ النَّفَاسَاتِ فِي الْعُقَدِ. وَمِن شَرِّ النَّفَاثَاتِ فِي الْعُقَدِ. Let's look at وَمِن شَرِّ النَّفَاثَاتِ فِي الْعُقَدِ. And from the evil of the blowers on the knots. We have talked about shar. Now an-nafathat. An-nafathat is actually coming from the word nafatha. Nafatha with sin. The one with 3 dots. Nafatha. Okay, that is the verb. And it means to blow with a little. To blow a little. There are 3 words that are very similar, and they are close to one another. The first one is nafasa with sin, nafasa, and that is to breathe. Nafasa with sin means to breathe. Nafatha with the 3 dots. Okay, nafatha, like here we are seeing nafathat with the 3 dots. That is the nafatha. It means to blow, not to breathe, to blow a little. And then nafakha with kha, which means to blow a lot. It means to blow extensively, to blow out with, a lot of this wind coming from your mouth. That is nafakha. And nafatha is to blow a little bit. And then nafasa with sin, to breathe. They are very similar words. So take note of them. As we go, we'll see other words. One of the words here, nafatha, we'll see the other words in other surahs. So please take note of them. وَمِن شَرِّ النَّفَاثَاتِ فِي الْعُقَدِ. So as I said, nafatha is from there, to blow a little bit, to blow. So those, the blowers are nafathat, from nafath. Okay, meaning he does it a lot. Nafath, if you look at the pattern, nafath. Okay, like yesterday we were looking at Surah Al-Nas, and we saw Al-Khannas is similar here. Nafath, Khannath, Ghaffar, Wahhab, those patterns. It is mubalagha. So nafath, they blow lot. But here, an-nafathat is the plural, jam'u muannas. Okay, an-nafathat fil uqad. So those, the blowers on nut. What do you mean by the blowers on nut? These are people who, the sorcerers, the magicians. The magicians, Allah is describing their act. They blow on nuts, and then they tie this knot, and then they intend to cause harm to someone. Okay, mostly they are women. We'll see even why it is mu'annath. The plural is mu'annath. Okay, so these people, ta'qid thumma tanfus, ta'qid thumma tanfus, ta'qid thumma tanfus. That is what they do. They tie and then they blow. They tie and then they blow. They tie and then they blow. They blow a little bit. And then they are mentioning some names of shayateen. I don't know whether you have seen them before. They mention the names of shayateen, the names of jinns and shayateen. And then their intention is to cause harm to someone. And then the person, the intended person, may be affected by their sihr, their magic. So this is what Allah is describing. This is in simplicity referring to those who blow on nas. Allah is using their how they do it to describe them, and simply referring to the magicians and sorcerers, those who cast spells, and then those who do sihr on people. How that is clear. So Sheikh says here, وَمِن شَرِّ النَّفَاثَاتِ فِي الْعُقَدِ وَمِن شَرِّ السَّوَاحِرِ. And then the evil of the sawahir, the sorcerers, allati yasta'inna ala sihrihinna bin nafs fil uqad allati ya'kinnaha ala sihr. So he's describing what they do. They tie knots and then they blow a little bit, and then they say this words, lot of words that you don't even understand. And then they intend to mention the names of shayateen, and then they try to do sihr on someone. Then the main thing that one other thing we want to elaborate here is an-nafathat. As we said, it's from nafath. And then an-nafa, it would have been nafathin. Nafathin. Like the plural. Like if I say al-muslimin, you see, al-muslimin, al-mu'minin, that is plural, that is plural, masculine plural, and it could be arm, it can be used for gender. But here, an-nafathat, okay, mu'minat, muslimat, qanitat, that is feminine. So the similar thing here, an-nafathat, referring to meaning they are referring to the feminine, describing them as being feminine in gender, in terms of gender. The beauty here is mainly those who involve in it are females. It is mostly women who use this kind of magic, okay, to blow on nuts, and then they tie, they blow, and then they tie, they blow, and then they tie. They mention their names, these names of shayateen. It's mostly women who involve in this, and that is the beauty of Quran. Sometimes the what is most common is used to represent what is general. It is something that the Quran sometimes do. It uses what is common, or what is most often to represent what is general. So even though men may also do it, but the most often is feminine. So that is why mainly an-nafathat is here like this. And that's a very beautiful explanation by Sheikh Ibn Usaymin. May Allah have mercy on them. Then the last one here, the last ayah, وَمِن شَرِّ حَاسِدٍ إِذَا حَسَدٍ. And from the evil of the envier, when he acts out his envy, from the evil of the envier, or from the evil of the jealous one, the one who has jealousy, envy, when he acts out his jealousy, or when he acts out his envy. There is one thing to be an envy person. There is another thing to act on it. I can be a teacher, but I may not be teaching at the moment. So, from the evil, like Allah is saying, we are seeking Allah's protection from the evil of the envy person, especially when he acts out his envy. Now, one thing that we need to know here, like the Sheikh says here, when Sharing Hasid is a Hasad. Al-Hasid, well, who is the Hasid? We have seen shar, we know shar, and now hasid. Al-hasid is the envier. Now we all know what envier means. So the Sheikh explained more by saying that al-hasid huwa allazi yuhibbu zawalu ni'ma عن المحسود فيسعى في زوالها بما يقدر عليه من الأسباب. This hasid, al-hasid, the envy one, is the one who wants ni'mah, blessing, to be removed from someone. Someone, Allah has favored someone with a particular blessing. The envy one would like that blessing to disappear from that person. He doesn't want to see it. He can't stand it. He can't stand it. So that is an envy one. You know there are two types of envy, like the prophet says, La hasada illa fisnatain. There is no hasada in no matter what. Okay, La hasada fisnatain illa fisnatain, except in two cases. Okay, so the illa there is an exception. It is now. Meaning that there could be an exception where it has to be envy is allowed. So that's what I'm saying. There are two types. The first is to be envy when, it's not that you are intending the ni'mah to be removed. Maybe someone has surpassed you in good deeds. Someone is very, mashallah, is holding on to Islam very well. He hold on to Islam very, very well. Whatever Islam commands, that is what he does. Whatever Islam forbids, that is what he doesn't go close to. And mashallah, you just look at this person, and then it's not that you want him to stop, or you intend bad for him. It's that you are comparing, you are looking at yourself, and then you wish that, alhamdulillah, may Allah grant you that, opportunity to also be, very, very holding on to Islam. So you are not desiring that that ni'mah on him will be removed, but you are rather desiring that Allah will grant you that ni'mah, or even more than that. That is the first one, and that is positive. But al-hasid here is the evil one, the second one, where it's not that you are intending good, but rather you are rather desiring that ni'mah, like the Sheikh says here, az-zawalu ni'mah al-mahsud, the removal of that ni'mah from the one who is being envied. That is the evil one here. That is the evil one here. So he even made mention, فَيَسْعَى فِي زَوَالِهَا بِمَا يَقْدِرُ عَلَيْهِ مِنَ الْأَسْبَابِ. He strive with all his capability, whatever he is capable of, for the removal of that ni'mah from this person. May Allah protect us. فَاحْتِيجَ إِلَى الْإِسْتِغَاثَةِ بِاللَّهِ مِنْ شَرِّهِ وَإِبْطَالِ كَيْدِهِ وَيَدْخُلُ فِي الْحَاسِدِ الْعَيْنِ. The evil eye is also hasid. It enters into hasad. How or why? لأنه لا تصدر العين إلا من حاسد شرير الطبع خبيث النفس. Has the evil eye. Someone cannot do evil eye without him being envying someone. It's not possible. How can you have an evil eye on someone without you having hasad on him? You just look at the person with an evil eye. We don't like what he's having. It is paining you what he's having. You look at him with an evil eye. And that is, very, very, something very big, and something very, it is haq. It's reality. It is there. Like Allah talk about it in the Quran. The disbelievers, they will look at the Prophet with a kind of looking that will even, like Allah says, it is about to make the Prophet slip and fall. Like the Prophet talk about the evil eye in the Hadith. So it is something that springs from hasad, when you have envy. That's when you look at someone with an evil eye. May Allah protect us.
فهذه السورة تضمن الاستعانة من جميع أنواع الشر عموما وخصوصا. So if you look at this, the first one, the first musta'azu minhu, the things that we are seeking protection from. First we mention the name of Allah. Qul a'udhu bi rabbil falaq. Say, I seek refuge from the Lord of the dawn. That is one name of Allah. And then we mention 4 isti'aza minhu. Al-musta'azu minhu. 4 musta'azu minhu. We mention 4 things. We just mention one name of Allah and then 4 things we need protection for. So just saying, like you go to your father and then you say, my beloved father, I need this and I need that and I need that and I need that, 4 things. But we just call him once. My beloved father, I need this and I need that and I need that and I need that, 4 things. That's how Surah Falaq is. But when you go to Surah Nas, you go and then you tell your father, my beloved father, the one I love so much, the one who also loves me so much, the one who I can't be without him, then I want this. You just praised him a lot, mentioned about 4 of his qualities, and then you mention one thing. I just need one thing. When will you do that? It is when the thing you are mentioning is extremely important. You praise him so much yet before mentioning this one thing. So Surah Nas, that is how it was structured. What we were seeking protection against was something that could damage our iman. We have talked about it in Surah Nas. Our iman is the most precious thing that we should be guided. But here, we are seeking Allah's protection against this evil. And so here, we just mention one name of Allah. And then we mentioned 4 al-musta'azu minhu. 4 al-musta'azu minhu. Now, another thing that we need to know is, if you look at the first al-musta'azu minhu, the first thing that we sought protection against, min sharri ma khalaq, it was general, like the Sheikh says, umuman, it was general. And then afterwards, he now specified min sharri ghasikin al-ghasik, and then an-nafathat, and then al-hasid is al-hasad. All these things, they are not part of the creation of Allah. They are. Al-ghasik is a creation of Allah, the darkness. And nafathat, all these things, they are from the creation of Allah. And then al-hasid, the envy one, they are all from the creation of Allah. But Allah now specifies them to mention. And one thing we need to know about them is they are all unseen. Al-ghasik is a wake-up when the darkness when it intensifies. Zulmatuhu tantashir ila kulli shay. When it covers the people, the darkness, when it covers the people, that part of the night, when it is extremely dark, you can't even see at that time. Then an-nafathat, the sorcerers, the magicians, when they do that, even when they cast a spell or something, you don't even know who did it. I hope that is clear. It is something that we don't get to know, or we don't get to see. And then the last one, وَمِن شَرِّ حَاسِدٍ is a hasad, the one who envies. When he envies, he doesn't want to, it is something he's hiding. No one will envy someone, or will have an envy for someone, and he will tell him, my friend, look, I hate you so much. He will never do that. He will try to hide behind things, and then he act out his envy. He will try to plot against you in the unseen, for you not to know. So all al-ghasik and nafasat and then al-hasid, they are things that are in the unseen. Now, how do we protect ourselves against them? It is very easy. Allah Azza wa Jal has granted us this beautiful 2 surahs, al-Maw-izah, as we have said, al-Maw-izah, for use as protection. But the main thing, the first thing is for us to be close to Allah Azza wa Jal, always for us to be close to Allah. We have to be holding on to Allah. We have to be strong when it comes to our relationship with Allah Azza wa Jal. It is something that we have to work with. We have to work on, to have a constant relationship and to have a nice relationship with Allah Azza wa Jal. Before, like we have already seen, Ar-Rabb in the first surah, Kul a'udhu bir-Rabb. Even the next surah, Kul a'udhu bir-Rabbin nas.
So the two surahs of the Maw-izah, in all of them, the first ayahs, it reminds us of the fact that we are slaves and Allah is the master. So when we submit ourselves, when we are in the obedience of Allah, we are already protected from these things. And then the second thing is, of course, these two surahs, using it as described by the Prophet or in the uslub that the Prophet used them. And then we use it, and then we have tawakkul in Allah Azza wa Jal. Most harm, all this evil, they are now spread today because most of us, we are far from Allah Azza wa Jal. Look at the community, the Muslim world. And not only them, just look at the world in general. They are all very, very far from Allah. So this evil, they are able to spread very fast and very easy, and they are very, very common because of the fact that we are very far from Allah in terms of our relationship with Him. But what Allah has granted us, wallahi, is enough. It's more than enough. It's more than enough. These two beautiful surahs of the Quran is more than enough. It's a very, very big lesson from it for us to learn and for us to use. Like one of the Sheikh Usaimin, he says that these two surahs, or what Allah has granted us for protection of ourselves, is even stronger than the dam that was constructed by Zulkarnain. The dam that was constructed by Zulkarnain is these two surahs, and these surahs that, or this protection Allah has granted us, is more stronger than that. Wallahi, when we really apply these two surahs and we have tawakkul in Allah, the barrier between us and evil is going to be like the dam constructed by Zulkarnain. And even more than that. Jazakumullahu khairan. Alhamdulillah for this ni'mah. We have come to the end of Surah Al-Falaq, study of Surah Al-Falaq. We pray that Allah put barakah in all that we have studied. Anything that we have made mistake of, it is from ourselves, and then we ask Allah to forgive us. And then one other thing that I would like to say is, before I forget, Surah Al-Nas, in Surah Al-Nas yesterday, like we look at Surah Al-Nas. Surah Al-Nas is from the Sunnah of the Prophet, is the last surah of the Quran. So from the Sunnah of the Prophet, whenever the Prophet gets to Surah Al-Nas, like the Prophet is reading the Quran, and then he gets to it, that is the last surah of the Quran, he quickly reads Surah Al-Fatiha. He just say Bismillah, and he reads Surah Al-Fatiha. He reads that again. Surah Al-Fatiha is starting the Quran, and Surah Al-Nas is ending the Quran. So when he gets to Surah Al-Nas, he just reads Surah Al-Fatiha again, as if he has just started again. Meaning that there's no end to studying Quran, or there's no end to reading Quran. You can't be like, now I'm okay. No. Zikr. Inna nahnu nazzalna zikr. The Quran is a reminder. And as we have seen yesterday, okay, Nas, we are Nas, human being, the forgetful human being. We are people who forget. So we need to be constantly reminded. So that is why the Quran is here to be reminding us always. Through this, this life journey, this journey of life. Okay, so the Quran is here as a reminder. And so is it from the Sunnah of the Prophet. When he just finished Surah Al-Nas, he quickly read Surah Al-Fatiha. Just to show that that is how Quran is. There's no end to studying the Quran. May Allah put barakah in it, and then grant us the ability to study the Quran extensively. Alhamdulillah, inshallah, we'll look at the next. Inshallah, the next series that we'll have, of course, we'll look at the next surah. We'll try to look at Surah Al-Ikhlas, inshallah. Jazakumullahu khairan, wa barakallahu li wa lakum fi Qur'an al-Hakim, wa nafani wa iyyakum bil ayati wa zikri al-Hakim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Inna anzalnahu Qur'anan Arabiyyan